Hello and welcome to QED Stata 3, starting from part S21. So we're going to use this command called WB Open Data. WBO Open Data is actually an extension to Stata. There are many extensions to Stata that you can write yourself, other people can write. This is a particularly well-known one, written by somebody called João Pedro Azevedo, and you've got to install that in your version of Stata before you can use it. So if you just type WB Open Data now, it probably wouldn't work because it's probably not installed. So this command is the one that's going to install it. I'll try running it in my version of Stata, but as you can imagine, it's already installed in mine. So it's just going to say, it's going to tell me that it's already installed. But you should be doing this. It also takes a few seconds to check. So you see it's checking, it's installed, la la la. Okay, so I paused it actually for a while, the video, but eventually it's come up with all files exist and are up to date. Hopefully for you, it's now installed it, so it's ready to go. Once you've done that, well, we can clear all, as always. Just make sure there's no data in the memory. And then we're going to run this. Just before we do S23, we'll do S22 Part B. It's just to point out that I didn't put this in the written instructions, but if you type in DB for a dialog, then a dialog box, bring up WB Open Data. Like that instead. This gives you a kind of an interactive way of using it, eventually. That's a bit of a delay again. It should bring up a command box like this. So you can, you can either put in countries here, or if you leave it blank, it gets all the countries. But here's the bit that's a bit tricky, because here you've got to kind of, I think there are 15,000 or something. It's a lot, and you've got to try and find the data you want inside there, which is why it's much easier if you can go and look up those codes as we've done already. So one option you have got is to run this, tick that to say import in long form, and then into this box here you can paste the list of variable names that you need, separated out with colons as they are. So you can do that, but we're not going to do that way. We're going to go back to the way I was doing it here, which is to use the direct command, because the advantage of the text command is you can put it into your do file and then it's repeatable. But if you copied those things there into that dialog box, that would work, but you can't put that into the command. So we'll just get that, copy this and put it into the do file. So not into the do file, we're going to run it directly for a minute. I haven't done the do file. Like there, and run that, and hopefully that will do something. And this does take a while, depending on your bandwidth. So you can see it starts bringing in all the background data, telling you exactly what each variable was, where it comes from, and so on. It's good data to have. And eventually, up here, you should see that it fills in with all the different variables that you've got. Then you can check it. I might pause my video while it's doing that, so it's not too long. Okay, so for me, that's finished running now. So I can see I've got my nice variables here. And if I run describe, so we've got 16,000 observations, so a slightly more chunky data file than previously, 19 different variables, and even though there's lots of strings at the start, the strings are all for the text things that we'd expect, like the name of the country, name of the region, that kind of stuff, the textual information, and all the things which are numbers have been stored as numbers, mostly floating point numbers, apart from the year, which is an integer. The rest are floating point. You can also just browse it. You can see that the red things there, the text, and all the actual numerical data is all in black, and it's either numbers or it's the proper dots. And Stata knows the dots are missing variables and knows the black numbers are real numbers. So everything's good. So much better using that direct import method, as long as you know which variables you want. The one downside to it is it's a bit of a blunderbuss that it's picked every country in the world for every year, which is a bit kind of extreme. And it's also, if I look at the data, back in the browse window, see the region name here, and Aruba, first country, alphabetically. If you zip down, you get to some things. See if we can find the first one. Yeah, like early demographic different, and that's not a country, that's like a group of countries. So it says aggregate for the region name. There's a few other ones probably. There's so many countries it's hard to find. IDA total, not classified. There's some problems. Aggregates, low income countries. Yeah. So the idea is you want to get rid of those, because sometimes you want to analyze those groups: low income, high income, middle income. So that's that kind of thing. But now we want just a list of individual country by country. So if we put this into it, like that would skew the whole analysis. So we want to zap all those aggregates from our data set. And the way you do that is use the keep command. So the keep command kind of works backwards. It says which ones do you want to keep, and everything else gets dropped. So if we run this command, there we go. That exclamation mark followed by equal means not equal. So that's going to keep everything where the region name is not aggregates. So now if we go back to browse, it would have got rid of all those things. So there won't be anything. There's everything in here is now an individual country. So we're now ready to carry on with the rest of the analysis. Now, since we loaded the data, we're now getting into the thing where we've got lots of data, we're starting to do complicated things to it. We're about to do a whole bunch of renaming things. So it's getting a bit complicated. Now is the time to start a do file, so you can easily repeat stuff and correct silly mistakes. So we'll go on to the next video, and that video will start a do file. So for now, you should start thinking about how you're going to rename these videos, rename these variables. If you open the do file here, you'll see that I've given you a start on that. So let's go to the do file editor. I'll open that. I put start, I call it start because it's just this, obviously that's the finished one, this is the starting one. So it gives you the bits you need. It's got the first rename there that you're going to need, so you just have to add the rest of the renames in and execute those commands. This bit here, I notice I put asterisks in front of it. That's because we want it, so if you rerun this whole file later on, it'll load down the data again, but obviously that takes quite a long while, it's a bit of a pain. So if you accidentally run that do file while you're just fiddling around with it, it's going to try downloading all the data again from scratch, which is a pain. So if you put the stars, asterisks in front, that tells it to ignore that, makes it into a comment for now, so it wouldn't rename it. Later on, if you want to use it, get rid of the stars and then you can run it. So you try filling in that as in S25 for now to do all the rest of the renaming, and I'll pick that up in the next video. But for now, thanks for watching.